What do Falcons do? Rise up. Welcome to Rise Up Reactions, the show where we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia, sports, and in general, the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Denning, the Golden Hard Knock, and a lifelong sports fan. And guys, today I'm coming to you with a quick preview of the Falcons at the Detroit Lions. Now, Falcons have been the benefactors of some fairly good situations to start out the season. But a win is a win, and it really doesn't matter what the situation is, especially if you look at the fact that down the line, the NFC South and the NFC North are likely playing for the 3 slot or the 3 seed in the NFC playoffs. And then that would likely lead us to not have to play somebody like the Cowboys or the Eagles, who are likely going to be the 1 and 5 seed in some combinations. So as long as we're not that 4 seed where we have to take on one of them, then that's great. So having the Falcons be the dominant team, having wins over Green Bay and Detroit, who are both predicted to be the top contenders so far after a few games this season, that would go a long way down the line, especially in terms of tiebreakers for the Falcons if we win this game this weekend. Now, that said, again, we are entering a fairly favorable situation overall. Now, we are not predicted to win this game. I want to be very clear about that. America says we're not going to win. We are under points in the spread. But we are going into Detroit with getting some of our major players back. Cordarrelle Patterson did not practice yesterday, but he has been listed that he will be doing kick returns at least for us. And I imagine if he's healthy enough to do kick returns, he will probably be slotted into that joker role that we created for him at some point. But Dupree, he has been a little bit sick this week. He didn't practice on Thursday. I imagine he'll be fine by the time we get to the real deal. Jeff Okudah, this could be a revenge game for Jeff Okudah. I'm kind of hoping it is. I really hope he has like 5 or 6 interceptions. It's not a realistic possibility. He will be lucky to get 1. But I'm hoping that he shows out and has a quote-unquote revenge game here. But he's been a full practice participant for the last 2 days. And then you had Troy Anderson, who is not listed on the injury report after suffering a concussion last week and missing time. So you'll have Nate Landman and Tay Davis kind of taking a backseat to him and just being rotational components again. Troy looked good in his first game. See if he can keep that up this time. And then you got Calais Campbell, who basically is just having veteran rest. He wasn't really listed on the injury report yesterday. But overall, Falcons relatively healthy, especially if Bud Dupree is able to come back and if Cordarrelle Patterson is completely fine by the time we get to Sunday. I think we're going to have almost our entire starting lineup ready to go here. The Lions, on the other hand, though, they are kind of struggling at this point with injuries. Last week and the week before really banged them up. They're going to be missing their starting left tackle potentially in Taylor Decker, who didn't practice yesterday. They have a lot of guys who haven't practiced for Wednesday and Thursday as of this week, actually. So, they lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, their star corner they brought in for the season, so he is gone. So we're going to have a little bit of easiness or not necessarily easiness, but a little bit of lightened pressure from the secondary. And then you also have some other guys in the secondary that are hurt. Kirby Joseph is currently hurt. Emmanuel Mosley, one of the backups at corner, is hurt. So you're missing 2 of your guys there. So yeah, it's going to be tough for them. Frank Ragnow, their starting center, didn't practice, but he's probably just resting. It's probably not a big deal for him. You have, I can never say this guy's name. I'm going to call him Hot Pot of Glue Vital. He's suffered a knee injury. He's not been practicing, but he's their starting right guard. So they are coming into this banged up, and not to mention that Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has been practicing and I fully anticipate playing, he got a little bit banged up this last week, and he was basically taken out of contention for this for their game against the Seattle Seahawks in the second half of the game. You also have David Montgomery, who is likely going to be out, so this could be the Jahmyr Gibbs show. Now, again, Jahmyr Gibbs is not necessarily built to be a between-the-tackles guy. He is better if you give him a little bit of space. He's better as a receiving back. So we're going to have to do a lot to key in on him and keep him from being a big factor. I think we can do that, certainly, especially if we plug up the holes that have been screwing us over for the last couple of games. Now, what have we got to do as Falcons? The four-man rush, the Calais Campbell, David Onyemata, Grady Jarrett, plus or minus, your Lorenzo Carter, your Arnold Ebiketie, Bud Dupree. Those guys, whatever a combination of four of them are going for the quarterback on almost every play, they have to get pressure. We have not been able to do that. We've had to do blitz packages to get there. I think we probably should blitz a little bit more, especially early in the game. And then I also think that on the opposite side of the ball, we need to run the damn ball, especially if we get down to goal line situations. We are built to run the ball. I still think, even though we won against Green Bay, it was an amazing comeback. Great clock management towards the end of the game by Arthur Smith. Great play calling towards the end of the game by Arthur Smith. You can still be critical of the fact that in the early part of the game, there were some stupid decisions, like truly mind-boggling stupid decisions. Why in the hell do you throw the ball 2 out of 3 times from the 1 yard line on your first goal line stance? You've got Bijan Robinson, you got Tyler Algier, you've got Keith Smith at fullback in there, and you've got a running quarterback in Desmond Ridder. Why are you throwing the ball? And yeah, there's going to be some guys that say, well, you got to keep the defense on their toes. You can't have them just stack the box. I don't care. Get me the 1 yard line and those guys, and we're going to run it 4 times and pick up a single yard. I promise we will. So that's something that I think we need to work on. I think we need to be a little bit more cognizant of where we are on the field. I think we got to be definitely aware of penalties. Bergeron looked much better this past game. He had some penalties in the first game that cost us a little bit. I think we're going to have a little bit of trouble with Aiden Hutchinson, especially with him lining up on the right side there. I am not thrilled by the fact that Caleb McGarry is going to have to be guarding him for the most part. So we probably are going to have somebody like Jonnu Smith playing double team on Aiden Hutchinson. Probably going to see a lot of packages that are more blocking tight end schemes. I don't think Pitts will be used that way, but definitely Jonnu Smith and Fitzpatrick and Michael Pruitt will be used in blocking capacities throughout the course of this game. I think it's very prudent and important that we do that because he is definitely the guy that's going to wreck us on the line. And then the other thing we need to be aware of is Alex Anzalone. I want to call him something else because of old Brandon Perna, who really likes to call him a rather inappropriate name for YouTube. But, again, he's a guy that's been pretty good for them, and in the middle of the field, he's going to be trouble for us. But, again, these guys are banged up a little bit. I think we're going to get a team that we can beat this coming week. I think it's going to end up being 24-20 Falcons. Again, we are not built to score 30 points, so if it turns into a 30-point shootout, we're probably going to lose this game. But if we can do good clock management, if we, again, run the ball. Arthur Smith, you're never going to see this, but please run the ball. Anybody in the organization, anybody who might see this, please pass along the message. Run the damn ball. That's all we want. Ridder has to be a little bit more cognizant of turnovers. He did have one bad one this past week, but again, that was because he got hit on the throw. But again, I think if he can see the field a little better, and I think if he develops that confidence, because he developed big boy, massive cojones in the fourth quarter of this last game. If we can see that version of Ridder on a regular basis, we're going to win a lot of football games. We don't need him to be Patrick Mahomes. We don't need him to be the next Drew Brees or the next Matt Ryan or whatever you want to say. We don't need him to be the next one of those. We need him to be a solid game manager, pick up 150 to 200 yards through the air without turning the ball over, and let us run 40 times down the opposing team's throat. Let us pick up 170 to 200 yards on the ground. If we can get those types of numbers, we're going to win a ton of football games. Guys, I'm super excited to be talking to you about this. I have not been excited about the Falcons truly in a long time. I know I've got the channel. I know I talk about it. I try to put on some excitement. But it's been bad. Like, we were projected to be a bad team last year. We were projected to be a bad team the year before because of bad contracts from the Thomas Dimitroff and Dan Quinn era. And somehow we have found ways to stay competitive. We have found ways to build upon previous foundations. We found a way to win a ton more games than I ever thought we would in the last 2 years. And now it's all coming together where I think we can put this together and have a solid start. It would not shock me if we lose this game because it is in Detroit. They are angry about the fact that Seattle beat them. But with all the injuries they have, with us being healthy, with a solid game plan by Arthur Smith, I think we can go in here and I think we can upset the Detroit Lions and go 3-0 for the first time in I don't know how long. I think 2017 or 2016 might have been the last time we did this. But guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Again, I am trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the 2023 season. If you haven't done so already, please click that button. It's free to you. It helps me grow and helps my channel reach more people. Thank you, and as always, rise up.